Hello and welcome back, and hopefully this should be charged and working for today's video. So, today we'll be looking at the band Texas in July, and actually there is a change of plans because this was supposed to have been what I thought was an album called Without Reason. Turns out there was some issues with that, so we're now doing an album called Bloodwork. So, who are Texas in July? Texas in July is an American metalcore group from, now, I think this is pronounced Ephrata, Pennsylvania. They were formed back in 2007, and they released one EP and their debut album through CI Records. They then signed to Equal Vision Records, where they did 3 more albums, but in 2015 the band split up before coming back in 2023 to do the Without Reason EP. After the split, 2 members decided to go their separate ways and join other groups, with member JT Cavey joining the band Era, and Chris Davis joining the band The Ghost Inside. So, their discography. In 2008, they released Salt of the Earth EP. 2009, I Am, their debut album. 2011, One Reality album. 2012, self-titled album. 2014, Bloodwork, which is what we're going to be looking at today, which is an album. And 2023, Without Reason EP. So like I said, originally, I thought Without Reason was a full-on return album, so I was intending on doing that for today's video. I was not aware that it was only like a 5-song EP, so I've switched quickly to their last full album, being Bloodwork. So maybe Within Reason will be in a 2-episode EP review later on down the line, because I think I've got the next few episodes already tabled in, so yeah, that one might have to wait a little bit. The album is 11 tracks and spans 40 minutes and 51 seconds, so just shy of a 41-minute runtime. Nice cold monster. So, we start off with track 1, Broken Soul. 4 minutes and 4 seconds. We get a old school metalcore vibe from the offset here. The drums are great, the guitars are great, the vocals were crisp yet legible, like you could make out what was being said, like it wasn't too muddy, which from a 2014 album I kind of wasn't expecting that, or the production to be as clean as it was. Like, I know 2014 isn't technically that long ago, like 10 years, but you go back and listen to some albums from 2013, 2014, and they sound like really muddy, really unprofessional at times, I guess, like, depending on the size of the band. But I suppose being 2014, this was their last album. They probably had already made themselves quite a name, because I feel like I know New Texas in July before I'd even listened to them, if that makes sense. But yeah, good starter track, very solid. Pardon me. Moving on, we have track 2, The Sweetest Poison, which is 4.5 minutes. This one starts almost immediately after the last song, like there is no like wherewithal, it just goes straight into it. The instrumentation on this one, again, really great, really solid. The vocals, There's even like some little, like, they're not full-on cleans, but they're not like screams either. They're almost like this raspy, like, clean sung, but emotion filled, like, I don't really know how to describe it, if you can tell. Yeah, that's my best kind of description of it. And they're like brought in around the chorus of track 2. At one point, the instrumentation kind of fades back and doesn't take up as much of your attention, but the vocals kind of remain much more prominent. And we get the lines, "As my former husk crumbles to dust, I ready my mind and I reassemble. I trust that bliss won't arrive without resistance, but I know we are all capable of greatness," before it all starts to build back up towards the end. And then it's just one last run of the chorus kind of before the song shifts into track 3, which is Pseudo Self, just over 3 minutes long. The song feels very fast-paced, especially the drums and guitars, which were fantastic, and again, the vocals were solid as hell here. Other than that, I didn't really have too much to say about Pseudo Self. Like, it kind of was over before it was done, if that makes sense. Like, by the time I'd gotten around to, like, listening to it, because, like, depending on the song, I have 2 ways of doing this stuff. I either listen to the song in its entirety, go back and start writing again as it plays the second time, or I will let it play and then I'll keep, like, pausing it and replaying bits, and which does make the song a bit more disjointed. So for this one, I did the, like, listen to it in its entirety, go back and listen to it again. And unfortunately, listening to it twice like that didn't really bring anything jumping out at me. So yeah, it did kind of feel weak, even though it was a very good track. Like, I did enjoy it, but there was just nothing that fully, like, reached out and grabbed my attention, if that makes sense. But it's still not a bad song. So from there we move on to track 4, which is called Defenseless. And this one's just a little bit longer. It's about 3 minutes and 3 minutes and 13 seconds, sorry. So it starts off pretty much swinging immediately, and I really liked verse 2, I think it was, where it says, "When you're grasping for air, when you feel like the world left you in solitary, there's only a matter of time before you see what's imaginary." Which, I kind of like that, because it's like saying, if you're left on your own for too long, you kind of start seeing shit that's not there. Which, I guess, talking about solitary confinement in prisons and stuff, they do say that when people are left on their own for too long, they do start to hallucinate and see weird shit, and that kind of makes sense. And like I said, the song kind of just stays on this equally deep sort of tone lyrically, kind of throughout, and the guitar work again is excellent throughout this song. If you are into your guitar riffs, licks, and just like hearing guitar played so smoothly and expertly, especially in a metal format, I highly recommend listening to this album, because the guitar work is just literally the standout to me. So moving on from here, we have track 5, which is called The Void, and it's just shy of 4 minutes long, and it features Levi Benton, the vocalist of Miss May I. So a slow guitar build up here into a repeated line of, "Is this the end? It's what I've asked for," which gets repeated about 4 times in total. The song is definitely more gripping throughout, and Levi's vocals, when they do kick in, differentiate themselves well enough from the vocalist of Texas in July, so you can kind of discern who's singing where, and there's no, like, confusion, as you can sometimes get with other features on other bands when they have like a vocalist that sounds sonically similar to their vocalist, which is something I never understood. Like, I've seen it done a couple of times in like bands that are a little less unknown. Like, they'll want somebody to boost the status of a song, so they'll say, let's get CJ McMahon in. But then their vocals sound so similar to CJ's vocals that you can't kind of like work out where they're to. Or the mixing is so bad that they make themselves sound so similar that you're like, who's what where? But this, like I say, is different enough to a point where you can tell who is who and who is saying what. So, moving on, we have track 6, which is Inner Demons, and this is 4 minutes on the dot. So, the song starts pretty decent. Verse 2 of every day's a quest for stability, hoping it's haven of our own, which I did feel a little bit weird there with this, because hoping it's haven of our own feels like there should be another word in there somewhere, like hoping it's a haven of our own. Like, the delivery and just me saying it out like this kind of sounds clunky. Hoping it's haven of our own. Like, I don't know, that could just be me. Around the 2 minutes and 10 mark, it gets a shift in tone. We go a bit slower, a bit more of a somber sound comes in before it picks right back up again, and we get the lines, I am the skin in your teeth, I am the look of defeat, I am your nightmare unleashed, I am the sword in your sheath, I am the lust in the sheets, I am the pride underneath, I am the wrath on repeat, I am the eyes when you cheat, I am the darkest of streets, I am the goal unreached, I am the waves on the beach that swept you out to sea, although I guarantee that I can be freed, let go of regret that's haunting me. And it's just like this really big final bit of the song. And just right before it ends and goes into track 7. But again, you've got this like, I am this, I am this, I am this, I am this, and then right at the end, the way that it just goes, I am the waves on the beach that swept you out to sea, although I guarantee that I can be freed, let go of regret that's haunting me. And it's like, okay, so what did the waves on the beach metaphor have to do with anything? Like, it felt, again, a little bit discombobulating, a little bit disjointed. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what they were going for with that. I did like the whole, like, I am this, I am that, I am this, I am that, like the repetition of it. It almost felt like godly and omnipresent, like with the way that they're saying, like, oh, I am like everything around you, I am the darkness in the streets, the lust in your sheets, you know, the sword on your sheath and stuff like this. It felt very godly, omnipresent, like no matter where you go, no matter what you do, this person is there watching you, sort of thing. But then you get the whole thing about letting go of regret that's haunting you, and it's kind of like, huh? Shouldn't that have been like a separate line or something? I don't know. If anyone else has a different take on that, maybe we can have a line of discourse in the comments. I'd be interested to see what other people think of that. Moving on to track 7, we have Decamilli. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's 3.5 minutes long. It is just a instrumental showcase of insane talent and skill with chunky drums and succulent guitar riffs that will make you salivate, quite frankly. Honestly, sometimes I can be a bit funny with instrumentals on an album. Like, I don't like when a band just goes, shit, we need a filler to get to this album length. Let's just slap a 2 minute or a 1 minute 37 like instrumental break in the middle of the album. That kind of just feels like it's done for the sake of being done. Whereas this is a full-blown track, like a 3.5 minute long song but it's just guitars, drums, bass, everything getting a chance to showcase itself without vocals over the top of it. And they really take the time to utilize this and showcase what the bandmates have got. And like I said, the guitar work again, really, really good on this. The drums again also did stand out. But look, when I was looking at the album list, it also did say that there was a feature on this instrumental track, but I don't know. It claimed to have been someone from, I believe, The Word Alive, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I didn't actually write that down. I'm just remembering that off the top of my head from when I was doing all of this yesterday. But yeah, we move on to track 8, Nooses, 3 minutes and 7. Back to tracks with vocals now. They kick in immediately. But again, verse 2, it always seems to be verse 2 that has the quotables with this band. We get some lines that I really loved. Bury me, let me lay. I'll be right there when you look away. Bury me, let me lay. Remember when I'm dead, I'm dead. And the delivery of that is so good, because it's like, when I'm dead, I'm dead. And then it just kind of like really kicks in. And then this is followed up by, again, another line that I quite enjoyed, which was asphyxiating in water so cold, frigid straight to the marrow. Which I don't have much to say apart from just the fact that the water is so cold that it's like freezing you into your bone marrow. Really is like a visceral description to me, which I quite enjoyed. Like, if you're going to have stuff like that, then you want to go visceral, you want to touch a nerve, you want to be like, no, this is what I'm aiming for, I want you to feel uncomfortable, sort of thing. And you can kind of imagine how cold the water must be to chill you straight to your marrow. Like, that is imaginable to me. But yeah. So moving on, we have track 9, which is The Tightrope, which is about 3 minutes and 42 seconds. I kind of zoned out during this track. It wasn't bad. I just felt like it sounded very sonically similar to some of the other tracks on this album, even if the lyrical content was very different. I did try listening to it twice, and because obviously I recognised that I zoned out the first time, and the second time just nothing really particular stood out to me again. Like, that is the one problem I've found with this Texas in July album, is there are some bits where it does start to sound very similar throughout, but this skill is there. Like, they're good at what they do with it. Moving on, we have track 10, which is Illuminate. This is about 3 minutes 12, I believe. This track felt better than Tightrope personally, and the shouts of "I hope it finds you well" really jumped out and stuck with me for some reason, honestly. Couldn't tell you why. The instrumentation, as is throughout the whole album, was really good on this track again. Yeah, that's about all I've got to say about it, really. Apologies. My voice was going a tad hoarse there. And then moving on, we have track 11, the final one, which is Bloodwork, which is about 4 minutes and 42 seconds. Like I said, the final track has great guitars. The lyrics were interesting, especially. Apologies. So yeah, like I said, lyrically, there was this interesting bit that stuck out to me, which was, "You told me that I'd see you again, whether in this life or through a future kin. If I could only have one wish, I would ask to be stronger. Stronger. Stronger." Which, I'm not sure why, it really kind of hit me, stuck out to me. Definitely worth a listen to this track as well. I really enjoyed this one. Yeah, that's about all I have to say about that particular song. So my final thoughts, like, I enjoyed the album as a whole, but there were definitely some songs that dragged, some songs that felt very similar to other songs on the album. And by the time I got to track 9, I definitely started finding myself a little bit disinterested with certain things, like, hence why I said I zoned out during one song. Like, I was kind of like just sitting there like, this sounds similar, like, but like I said, there's no fault of their own. Like, with metalcore, it is hard to keep things fresh, as we all know. Like, so especially back in 2014, like, if I remember correctly, let me check. I think 2014 is like when Killswitch Engage was massive and stuff like that, isn't it? Apologies. I film everything in one take, so you're gonna see me googling this shit. Uh, yeah, they were somewhat still relevant in 2014 to a point, because this kind of did give me Killswitch Engage like instrumentation vibes. Fuck knows why, but yeah. So what are my top 4 for if you want to check out something on this album but don't want to sit through the entire thing? So my top 4 in order: Nooses, Bloodwork, Inner Demons, and Decamilli. The instrumental song alone definitely had to get a spot on here because of how good the musicianship was on that track. Thoroughly enjoyed that. And I probably will check out some more of their stuff. May just not be able to sit through it all in one sitting like I did with this, because it does drag. So that is it for this album review. I will see you all in the next video, which is going to be let us discuss, where I run you through my current standing top, I think it's 10 favourite albums I've ever listened to in my 25 years of being alive so far. So that's going to be an interesting one. Make sure to be there for that. Remember to like, subscribe, all that bullshit. Share it to a friend that you think might like this if you can. But the main thing is, remember to stay safe out there, my friends. Goodbye.